Good morning, folks. 14th of March, Ken Ring, www.predictweather.com. What have we got happening at the moment? Well, we're coming into the new moon time. The moon has actually entered the same sign as Pisces now, and there's quite an amazing combination of planets going on in the same area of the sky. You've got them all here. You've only got two that are outside of this particular area. You've only got Jupiter over there in Libra and Mars down here in Leo, but otherwise, for instance, down here there's Venus, that's in Aries. Right next to them you've got Uranus, you've got the Sun, you've got Mercury, Saturn and the Moon all together in Pisces, and the next one up is Neptune, that's in Aquarius, but it's still in the general area. When you get them all like that bunched up, it's quite a turbulent time. You get a few earthquakes around the place and quite a few upheavals, various natures. So what we've got in a local sense, there's a lot of wind around. Well, you get that in the new moon anyway. But we've got the new moon crossing the equator tomorrow, heading north. When it crosses the equator, that's a time of a lot of winds. And we've got the jet stream. I'm speaking from New Zealand here. The jet stream was going up the whole country yesterday. It's now moved over to the right and the right of the country, but there's still powerful winds, and they're still having some effect. Most of the winds and the rain comes at night over the new moon time, and that's typical of this phase. Southerlies, there's still a bit of rain around, but it's mostly cold winds coming from the south. And these winds are coming up from Antarctica, of course. Antarctica today is minus 63 degrees centigrade, minus 60 degrees. So, it's pretty cold down there. When they say things like the Antarctica is melting, well, how are you going to melt minus 63 degrees? It's never going to melt down there. You're always going to get cold bits at the top and bottom of the earth, and they're always going to be frozen. So whenever they say that, I kind of look sideways and have a bit of a laugh. Fiji is getting a cyclone today. Well, we did predict that last week, and that's a new moon phenomenon over the cyclone season. These things come always round about the new moons and the full moons. Most of New Zealand will stay dry, though, I think, over the next few days. I don't expect significant rain until Wednesday of this week, and with the cold that's around, I'm expecting the rain to translate into snow around Mount Ruapehu, so that's around about the middle of the week, and there'll be some rain and there'll be some gales around Auckland, because it'll be a couple of days after the moon's crossed the equator. That's generally the time that the winds pick up and come down here. It takes a couple of days for that turbulence to reach our particular latitudes. So I think the rain will be in Northland as well, but I don't think it'll be significant enough to break the drought. I think that's going to happen in May. Now, over in Australia, most rain is still around the top of the country and over in the northern Western Australia area, and there's some down the Queensland coast, because there's these lows that are developing. They're going to turn cyclonic soon, and they're sending rain back onto that eastern seaboard, and that situation will continue for the next few days. But in Western Australia, I think the rain will start to come down and come into the interior. It'll go south a bit. In Ireland, you've got a fairly warm southerly change coming, and there'll be a bit of warmth around from the fact that the moon's coming up from the south. And you have a pretty nice dry day around about the 18th, 19th over the whole country. So, farmers might take note of that, because that'll be a time to get your stock out and they'll be able to start grazing. So, did we predict all these things happening? Well, those of you who've got our almanacs, the New Zealand Almanac, page 138, page 119, they describe these cyclones that are forming and are building. And in Australia, page 132, that describes, the isobaric maps describe what's happening there. So I just put in a bit of a plug there for our books, for those people who think that we don't get things right. Just have a look at that. Anyway, I'm www.predictweather.com. Ken Ring signing off. Thanks very much for watching us, and I'll see you tomorrow.